All right, Joe Benavidez.
Hello.
How are you, Joe?
Very good, thank you. How are you?
I'm good.
Awesome.
Started your career way back in, I believe, 2006, first pro fight.
Yeah, that sounds right.
So 14 years later, way back in 2006, what did you expect that an MMA career could lead to?
I didn't know what to expect, honestly. I just wanted to do I just didn't want to do what I was doing, which was nothing. I obviously wrestled in high school, and I'd already seen UFC happening, so I guess you didn't know. I mean, it's one of those things that you hear a million times, like, you just have a passion for it, you follow it. Like, I knew I loved it. I mean, I was paying to do it since the beginning. But to tell you the truth, you know, I mean, you have dreams, like, you're like, oh, I'm gonna be rich and I'm gonna have a house and this and that. And a lot of the things that I think made people like me think that were taking up MMA around that time was like Ultimate Fighter 1, because these guys win a 6-figure contract. And you're like, 6 figures? Like, I was in New Mexico making like I was a screen printer. I was making maybe like $15,000 a year, you know, just to pay rent. I mean, 12 sometimes, less, you know, less than $1,000 a month sometimes. So you see a guy with a 6-figure contract and he gets this brand new car. You're just like, oh, these guys are rich and they're on TV. They're rich. If they're on TV, they're rich. You know, they live in giant houses in Las Vegas and stuff. Funny enough, I meet Forrest, you know, 10 years later, he's driving the same Scion. He hasn't, you know, and everything. And, you know, the contract's like win 6 fights and it's like 6 figures. But still, like, that gave you just saw it mainstream and you know it was going somewhere. So I guess I knew the sport was going to go somewhere. And, you know, I obviously had a passion for it and believed in myself, you know, especially right when I started training and the people I trained with. I just felt like this is nice. Like, I really, you know, enjoy this, and I felt like I was pretty good at it. People around me that I thought knew more than me, and they did, obviously, they did at the time. They thought I was pretty good at it, and I don't know, it was always just one of those, it was a limitless thing. It wasn't a destination. It was just like, oh, I'm gonna keep doing this. This is cool, you know?
Do you remember when you were keeping on doing it where you thought, I've made it now?
You know what's funny is, I don't know, I feel you never really make it because there's no arriving anywhere. You're simply going towards somewhere else. No matter what you're doing, you know, you can get here, get there, but like you're still going towards something else, whether it's this way, that way, or that way. So I'm just a big believer in that. Like, you never just like arrive and make it. Like, you're still on the way to something else, regardless. But in a general regard and aspect, the first time I was fighting for the WEC title against Dominic Cruz, and I was on a marquee, you know, at the Palms, because that was my first main event. So I was on a marquee at the Palms. I went to check in for my room, and you know, they had the sticker of me on the back, you know, like, I was on the back, whatever you could, the install of our poster on the back. So I'm checking in and like, I'm right there. And they're like, that's you. And that was just crazy because also it's in Las Vegas, you know, fight capital of the world. And I'd fought in Vegas at Hard Rock before and had my name on things and posters in the casino. But that was like, you pull up to the Palms and it's like me, you know, I go check in and it's me. It was a world title fight, you know, for the biggest, you know, title at 135 at that time, the WEC. And that was a time when I was kind of like, this is crazy. Like, I'm literally on a marquee, you know. But it's funny because before that, like I just said, like, you're always on your way to something else. Because before that, there's a ton of other times where I was like, this is the biggest thing I've ever done. When I go fight in Japan, you know, or something like that. Or I even go fight like when I lived in Sacramento, Tachi Palace was where all the regional people want to write, oh, I finally made it there. You know, I got this knockout. That person recognized me. Like, there's always little things along the way, but it's like, I was never just like, whew, I made it because I, you know, am fighting at the Tachi Palace as a main event. I'm on a poster or something. I could have done that my first fight, and I thought I made it because, you know, I was in my local posters in Las Cruces, New Mexico, and, you know, my whole family's there. I have shirts and stuff. but you're always just kind of moving towards something else. But that was a big one, and like almost like a shock where you're just like, do I deserve this? Like, how did this happen? Like, how did I get here? I'm on a billboard in Las Vegas fighting for a world title. That was pretty big.
What do you remember about getting ready for that world title fight? You've done it 3 times before this one.
Yeah.
What can you pull from that first one when you were younger?
Those are, I don't know, it's different days. I mean, you can pull a ton from it. That fight was at 35, it was one of the best ever, you know, dominant cruise, nice split decision, 5-round fight. I mean, there's nothing you can necessarily like just grasp, you know, and like pull that from my training or something. Like, it's just that experience in general, you know what I mean? Like, that's just another little piece of the puzzle of my career that has got me to where I am now. Like, all that stuff plays in, you know, every fight camp you grow, you know, you take things in, you take things out, you know, you deal with different emotions, you know, you deal with things on the fly, whether it's a cut or, you know, you can't train or you have a hurt rib or something. So there's nothing specifically I can just grab and do it, but it was a 5-round fight against one of the best guys ever. I mean, that's always really good. You know, is it going to help me in this fight? It could, it couldn't, you know, but the whole journey as a whole, you know, help you. And I'm just fortunate enough, like, I had moments like that in my journey. You know what I mean? There's nothing specifically I can be like, well, Dom, you know, it was just, everything changes rapidly in this sport. Like, you're just always evolving, like, mentally, inspirationally, physically, technically, like, all kind of things like that. Like, I was a whole different, you know, fighter back then, but just that experience has obviously helped me where I'm at now.
Yeah, you mentioned that fight was at 135
Yes.
pounds. You come into the UFC, you kind of help usher in the flyweight era in the
Yeah.
UFC, and you're still here,
Whoa, man.
and nobody
Yeah.
else is.
That's crazy. Yeah.
What does that mean to you?
Dude, that means, like, that's actually one of the cooler things, because it's a whole division. It has to do, like, I think everything is, like, bigger than me. It's never about me, you know, and this is, it's a whole division, you know what I mean? And I'm not saying I am the guy that, like, did this, but just to represent that division and everybody that came after it in a way is really cool. And I'm not saying in a way like I represent and we're like, I was this exact, you know, person that made everything, or not like that. I just mean, like, that division, like, a lot of people, like, I kind of laid the groundwork in a way, and, like, I'm still here doing it however many title fights later, 15, 20 title fights later. I went for the first one, and now I don't know what title fight this is in the division, but I'm still going for it, and that's cool. Like, I always, even when I started, one thing for me was just, like, the consistency and longevity, I think, were important to me. And I think it is with any career. You know, you go into a career and you don't want to just be a flash in the pan and come in and do this and then be gone. You know, it's all about, you know, how you can nourish that career for long terms, you know, like, that's with anything, relationships, you know, anything like that. You don't want to just, oh, it's a great month or whatever. Like, no, you want to, you know, have some consistency and longevity, and that is just a great stat that shows you, like, I honestly want to know who's been the longest to go from title fight to title fight, like, in between. Because, like, from the dominant cruise title fight to this title fight now, I mean, I feel there's probably not many people that were able to go for a title fight
More
8
than
years
10
ago.
years apart, right?
Yeah, or something like that. So all that stuff's really cool. And the fact it's for the division, like, I've said it a million times, I'm a huge fan of the division, and, like, everybody in it, like, whether I just see them succeeding and people talking about it or getting bonuses and anything like that. So it's pretty cool just to look at, and, like, I talk about the longevity, and it's like, that's something I can actually see it, you know, like, it's one thing to just to be like, he's been around a long time, but to see, well, he went for the first one, now he still is. He's fought through, like, this generation of guys that fought for titles. Like, some of those guys that fought for titles, they're coaching, they have their own gyms, like, who knows where they're at. And it's just like, I passed through all those different generations. Now I'm in a new generation, pretty much going to break in another one with, like, that Ultimate Fighter crew who's, like, right there too. So it's just been, like, generations of guys, and I've been able to stay at the top, and it's it's awesome. It's something definitely, you know, to look at and be proud of, and, you know, pat myself on the back for sometimes, which I don't do enough. You know,
Right.
it's cool.
In regards to the longevity, it's one thing to say you want to be around for a long time.
Yes.
It's another thing to actually do it.
Yeah.
How did you do it?
Honestly, I mean, a lot of it's just luck, you know, like the way my fights have gone. Like, this is the thing. It obviously takes consistency, you know, that's no secret. You know, consistency, hard work, all the stuff you'll hear every single time. But in a way, I just feel lucky. It was like, why was I so lucky that something in me, something deep down, once you get in there, like everyone wants to work hard on the surface, but like something deep down, like penetrating my brain was like, keep working hard, you know, keep consistent, keep the, you know what I mean? Like, you're still lucky in that way, even if you want to. Like, I had the ability, you know, to do it.
Where'd you get
somehow?
that?
I don't know. That's like the greatest mystery to me, is sometimes how guys are, you know, good at stuff. Like, you're good at this, and like this guy can play music, but that guy's a serial killer. Like, why did that happen? You know, I nourish that gift through, you know, training every day and seeing success and being grateful and all that stuff. I tried to nourish it, but to me, it's just like honoring the gift in a way. Like, oh, I'm so lucky and like grateful to be here. Like, I might as well like make the best of this day and go as hard as I can. What allowed me to do that? I don't know. I mean, it'd be too much just to be like, oh, I'm just mentally tough and stronger than everybody, because that's not it, you know? Like, I don't know. It's like I said, it takes hard work and stuff, but I'm just grateful I got to do that. Like, it takes hard work. It takes inspiration, obviously, every day. So I think for me, one of my biggest things that I think kept me going and positive is just the gratitude I felt every day, because I thought stuff like that, like, I'm lucky to be here. When you feel lucky for something, or you feel grateful for something, you're a lot less likely to just squander that, you know, like squander that day. So for me, those days that I didn't want to squander and I felt grateful for happened to be 6 rounds with the best guys in the world, you know, working on my craft. But at the whole time, like, you know, I felt lucky to get in, so I better not lose a round. I better go as hard as I can for, you know, these 30 minutes that I have it. Oh, I'm still here and I feel good, better than some other people probably do right now. Maybe I'll jump rope for 25 minutes. So you just keep doing those little things, but so much of it honestly comes from me just feeling lucky and wanting to honor that gift that I have, being in the gym and being able to work hard, and just being grateful for that opportunity and not wanting to squander any day. And that's what has made me consistent through training, you know. And maybe a lot of that for me is that I have seen another side and like another life, and I kind of know what that consists of, so I do feel lucky. It's not like I just grew up and like everything has been good, so I'm like, oh, and now this is really good, I deserve it, I just gotta keep working hard for it. I think I kind of know maybe, you know, how other things feel and go, and I'm grateful I'm also not there anymore. Like, I'm grateful I'm not where I was 15 years ago or something like that. So yeah, I think that has a lot to do with it. But that gratitude and that like feeling of being lucky and wanting to hold on to that, that is what has really helped me stay consistent, because that's every single day. Like, you talk about people like they just work hard. Well, why do they work hard? You know, well, because, you know, motivated or something. Well, what motivated you? Like, I honestly think that's what motivates me. Like, I feel grateful, so I just like try as hard as I can.
For those that don't know, the 15 years ago, the other life, do you mind describing what that is? And
No.
because I think it probably does lead to your perspective of your gratitude for the journey that you're on now.
Yeah, it definitely does. And I think that's a big thing, is like, I know what else kind of exists. Like, 15 years ago, like, just to say, like, I'm glad I'm not where I was 15 years ago, was basically me just abusing drugs and alcohol on a daily basis. I mean, daily, all day, every day, for a long time, for years, starting as a teenager. And yeah, so I'm just glad I'm not there a lot, and just knowing that happened, like, I wouldn't trade that for anything, but that gives me some perspective also, just like, oh, I feel lucky I'm here in the UFC Performance Institute. I feel lucky I left my house in a nice car. You know, I feel lucky. I'm married to an amazing wife, and like stuff like that. So yeah, that other side, I think that really helps. So like something I say every day, like if I walk into the gym and someone asks me how you doing? I go, I've been worse. And they're just kind of like, oh, okay. Like they don't really, but so many people, if you can keep that in perspective every single day, you've always been worse. You know, even if you weren't, you know, what I was doing or what you were doing, or, you know, rock bottom, for instance, like you've always been worse. And I just hear so many people, how you doing? They're like, I've been better. I'm just like, dude, what's the matter? Like you're drinking a smoothie, or like life's fine, you know, you're alive. But it's like, if I just can keep in perspective every day, I don't say it every day, but in a way, when I go into the gym every day, I'm just like, I've been worse. Things could be way worse. Like, oh, I don't want to practice or anything, you know, like, oh, I need to get gas in my luxury car or something like that. It's like, just always try to like keep that level. Like I've been worse. So people ask me, how you doing today? I've been worse, you know? And it's just like, you've always been worse. Even if you're like not good that day, you've been worse. So I keep that in perspective every day. And being worse for me means like me 15 years ago abusing drug and alcohol, but many times along there, I've been worse as well. So that day's a good day, you know, and I take that in every day to train, and it's just like, it's a great day.
When people hear that though, they almost think you're having a bad day, but not the worst day.
Yeah.
But you say that when you're having a good day.
Because every day's a good day if you've been worse. There's always, you know what I mean? That's how I feel. Like, that's exactly how I feel. Like, every day is good because you've been worse, so this has to be good. There's worse and there's good.
Right.
You know?
Do you remember when you really started looking at the gratitude aspect of your life? Because that's not always easy for somebody in their 20s or somebody trying to make it in the grind that is fighting in the UFC and MMA.
Yeah.
Do you remember when it kicked in that, like, wait a second, I have a lot to be
You know
thankful
what? I think
for?
it goes way back because I always remember really feeling that as a kid, like, you know, a lot of, like, I grew up with a single mom, and I just always just respected her like crazy. Like, even, you know, you're gonna get in fights with your parents, you're gonna want to rebel, you're gonna want to do that, but I remember always looking at her and like what she was doing. And even my grandma, who raised 9 kids on her own, and my mom, who raised me and 2 boys on her own, like, I just always remember being like grateful if I got like some shoes for Christmas or something like that, because I knew how hard she was working, you know, to get me that. But like, I still had this awesome pair of shoes, you know, for Christmas or something like that. So I don't know. I think I don't know. Once again, you don't know or choose or what's the mystery that really, you know, allows you to get that. But once you do feel it, you want to nourish it and you want to honor it, you know. And that's just, yeah, it's been like as long as I can remember, just kind of like, you know, being thankful. But I think that's growing up, you know, maybe in a way I did. That's probably where it came from, you know. You know, you live in this 1-bedroom apartment and things don't seem that good, but then you get something good and just like, oh, that's nice, and you just feel lucky. I think I could recognize, maybe, I don't know, like, it's a hard question, and to really remember where that comes from, because that kind of goes to what I think of, like, the earth is like, who knows where things come from? Right. Who knows why you think the way you, like, that is my biggest mystery I like ponder every day, is like, you know what I mean? Like, why does that person think that, and like I was able to think that? Or like, you know, like my friend couldn't stop drinking, but what like allowed me just to go like, I want something more in my life. Like, that's not for me anymore. I can't do it anymore. And was able, like, I feel lucky every day that I was able to stop drinking and doing drugs, because there's millions of people out there that maybe struggle with that every day, you know, and can't do it, you know, or they stop a month, or they stop at 2 times, and it becomes a real problem, and it affects them and a lot of other people. So once again, I just honor the gift that I was given to be able to stop, you know, by living the best as I can, working as hard as I can, you know, treating people good is huge, like all that kind of stuff. So it's just about, you know, processing that, feeling lucky for it, but then not squandering it.
Yeah. When you fought for the first flyweight title in UFC history, how would you describe getting ready for that fight?
It was an obsession, but like not in a healthy way. Like I put way too much into it. It was like I needed this. And when you know how it is, when you need something and you force things, it never happens. You know, and that's really how I felt. Like the training was great. I mean, aside, you know, from like injuries and stuff that maybe happened before, I felt ready to go. But the process, it was just different. It was a weird obsession. I felt like, I don't know, maybe it was too much of a selfish obsession for me to succeed and thrive kind of when I look back at it, because like that's all I cared about. I cared about this like self-worth, and like I have a belt, that's gonna complete me, right? That's gonna make me special. Everyone's gonna think I'm the best when like they put it on me and raise my hands. And I would stare at the belt. I had it on my mantle, like a picture of it. And I don't know, I mean, you know, that's how I felt. Like I still could have won the fight, and I don't think this has anything to do with winning the fight or losing the fight, because there's no order in that world, and we can talk about that when we talk even about fighting, but there's no order in that point. I'm a big believer, like, you can prepare as good as you can, and everything can perfect, you still have a chance. And you still have that chance. If you didn't prepare as good as you can still win. It's just crazy. So back to it, I don't think any of that affected me, but I didn't have the right motivations. I felt wound up, I felt tight and stressed about it almost every single day. You know, I felt like I wasn't myself, even happy. Like I remember like DJ Demetrious Johnson, like, you super nice, we've hung out a bunch of times, but now like I don't like you anymore. And like I don't operate like that, you know. So that's really, when I look back at it, it's just like, it was this like obsession, but just kind of like for the wrong reasons, like something I needed and I thought I needed though, you know, like everything's fine. Like when I lost I never thought about losing. That wasn't an option. I did. And like, everything was fine. I was like, I'm alive. Oh, that person still loves me. That person still loves me. I can still go in the gym the next day. And that was kind of just like, why did I put so much on that? It's not everything. And that was my first really transition into realizing like, this isn't everything. This is just like a part of your life. You know what I mean? And it's what we do when we want to be as good as we can be at it, because that's what we dedicate all our time to. But like, does it matter? Like, the people that love you right then and support you are going to love you 20 years later when you don't do it anyway. And that was one of those first times where I was just like, there's more to it than this. Why did I obsess about it so crazy and be mad and all this stuff about it? So that's how I look back at the first title fight.
Is the change in mindset what led to a lot of your success since then?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I really think so. I mean, look, I was doing good before that, you know? So that's what I say is, it's weird, because all that stuff to me, sometimes it doesn't translate. Like, I was doing good before that. Like, I still could have won that fight with whatever, you know, injury and training I couldn't do before that, and whatever mindset I had. Like, it was still a split decision. I probably could have done better if I didn't have that, but like, I still had a chance to win the fight, right? But I could have trained just as good and had a different mindset, and I still had a chance to lose it as well. So yeah, I mean, it's definitely helped me. I think after that, it's a growing experience, you know, and you realize like, this isn't everything. And I mean, I think it does help you in a way. I think it has helped my success since then. But once again, fighting's fighting. Mindset is everything. Like, I felt like I was doing good before that, and you know, I've done good since. And yeah, but I think I could say a lot of it is because I was just able to let go and, you know, enjoy it more. I didn't enjoy that camp. I wasn't, you know what I mean? Like, I operate when I'm having fun, when I'm happy. Like, that is when I'm at my best, even if I'm doing something violent like a fight. But I wasn't myself. I wasn't, you know, I was just too wound up. So yeah, it was able to take that and just be like, why do I do that? Just be yourself. Everything's gonna be fine, whether you win this fight or lose this fight. Enjoy what you've been doing the whole time. And I took that away, and like we talked about, I think that has been a lot of my success and longevity.
Split decision, though. How much do you think
Yeah.
about that one?
Not that much.
No.
Honestly, like
Yeah.
I don't think about it that much because, I mean, it was a split decision. It would have been cool to be the first one, but I look at my journey and the way it is, and I think like it would have been totally, this is the way it's supposed to be, right? So what if I would have won that first belt anyway? Like, I think of things I could have done, you know, from a competitive standpoint. Oh, I could have done this, I could have done that. I probably should have done the guillotine this way. There's always those little thoughts that goes without saying if you're, you know, at a top level of a sport. But I also just look, all right, what if I would have won? I might not be here right now. So many things in your life could have gone different every fight. Like, I win the first UFC title, you know, I defended a few times or not a few times, or as many times as DJ, or, you know what I mean? Who's to say from there? And then what happens? You know, I don't know. I mean, my road could have just been 100% different, and I'm very happy just with the way my road is, because that's how it's been. So it's something I don't think about that much.
Was there a time when you didn't think you'd be able to fight for a title again?
Yeah.
When was that?
I mean, a lot of times. Like, this funny thing is, I've always believed I was going to win a world title. I never stopped working towards the goal of a world title. Like, I've never stopped trying to be the absolute best in the world, because it was always within reach. I've been for 10 years in 2 divisions, you know, top 2, 3 in the world at all times. So it's always been there, and I've always looked at it and knew I could win it. But there was a ton of times. I mean, when I lost to DJ the second time, I was like, I was on a 6-fight win streak. I was like, well, it doesn't matter. If he doesn't lose, I'm not fighting him again. So that was kind of one of those times, you know, when I was stuck in that position, you know. And then there was even just like when the division was kind of even on the brink or whatever, and there was rumors of it going here and there, I'm like, well, what's going to happen? Is there not going to be another title fight now? You know, like, you know, times like that. Like, I never stopped working towards it, and I always believed in it. But, I mean, there was times I had to look at every possible position and way that my career could go and come to peace with it in a way as well, you know. And I feel I did. I don't know what's going to happen, but I'll react to it and, you know, and go from there. And that's what it's always been.
You told me one time you can do everything right, and that just gives you a chance to get what you ultimately want.
Yeah.
Is that kind of when you've kind of figured out that mindset?
Yes. I mean, that's fighting for you. It's not like any other sport where, you know, I'm running, you know, a half marathon and my miles are about this every time, so I'm probably going to run around there. Like, you got to do everything you can every day. Like, even when I'm preparing, I'm just like, this is great. It's something I have to do to give me a chance. It's not guaranteed just because I've worked hard and I deserve it, you know, like a lot of people say. I deserve that or whatever, or I earn that. Like, you don't earn it until you get it, then it's like, oh, you must have earned that, maybe, you know. But yeah, I mean, you do that every day, and it gives you like more of a chance. I have to do this, I have to recover, I have to go an extra round. But it's like, it doesn't mean, it's not the recipe. Like, you do all that, for sure you're gonna win. And yeah, I'm a big believer in that. So it's just like, even when I win, I'm just like, someone's like, that was a great fight. I'm like, I'm glad it worked out, because I try to do that every time.
Right.
I try to go out and win every time, but sometimes it works out. You know, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it works out great. You know, my last fight was one of my favorite fights of my career, and it was just, I was like, man, like, things are working out and it's good. But it's like, I do the same thing when they don't work out. You know, it's just no one sees that. They see the result, you know? Like, I'm doing the same thing when it didn't work out. Like, my only time I've been finished in my whole career against DJ, the second fight, never felt as good as I'd felt that night. Like, through training, through everything. And that was a lot when I took in that thing too. I'm like, there's no order. The first time I couldn't train for 3 weeks before the fight. I go to a split decision. You know, this time I feel the best, you know, so best I ever have. And, you know, I get, you know, finished for the only time in my career. So I just take that every day. Like, I know what I have to do every day, and I'm already in there trying hard, but you can't think like, now you're gonna win. Now you deserve it, so you're definitely gonna get it. You know, fighting's not like that. You literally, when it comes down to it, like, every fight's different. Every single camp, every single thing. Like, I'm a big believer in, if the fight happened 5 minutes later and you had to be held in the back 5 minutes later because the fight went to a decision instead of a finish, your fight would have gone different then. You know, like, so I'm always just like, I'm gonna train myself as good as I can, because that is what's gonna help me react in those split seconds that I need to earn the victory.
So you're fighting for a title again.
Yes.
How would you describe this camp as you get ready for your third attempt at a UFC belt?
This camp has been great because it's normal. Like, for one, I didn't know if this fight would happen. I didn't know when it would happen. Look, I knew I was gonna fight for a title next. You know, whether it be this vacant title or against Cejudo. I knew a big fight was on the horizon, but there was a year before this where we didn't even know what was happening with the division and stuff. And the way it happened, it was great. So I was really happy, you know, the way it all worked out, and got to get to fight in February for a main event for a vacant title against a guy I haven't fought already, a new, you know, different, you know, potential star in the division, which is great. And so I take all that in, and my camp's been great because I just, going back to what we're talking about, like, I feel grateful and like lucky, and I'm happy with the opportunity. So everything's been happy, you know. Dance while I'm hitting mitts, I'm making, like, everything's just great. There's no, I mean, obviously you're serious. We're working out, we're fighting. It's a serious thing, but we know that. We know how hard it is. You know, I mean, I have hard days every day, hard weeks. That goes without saying. Like, you can't look at somebody who's fighting for a world title and think they don't work hard. So I don't say that. It goes without saying. I'm not posting every day, man, I'm working so hard. It's like, well, yeah, that's your job, right?
Right.
So that's what I do. But on another aspect, it's just, the camp's been great because I'm happy for the opportunity. I'm lucky. You know, I got good people around me. And this title fight is, I don't want to say this in a way that doesn't get enough credit what it is, because that's obviously been my main goal. It's anyone that fights' main goal. But once again, you know that as a competitor, we're all in the UFC to fight. But it's one of those things, going back to the first one, is like, it obviously means a lot, but it's like, I'm also fine without it. Like, I never needed this. You know, I went through every aspect of how this could go and how that could go. And at the end of the day, like, I'm happy with it. So now I get this, and it's like one of those things where it's like, oh, but now I get this. So now I feel lucky for it. I feel grateful for it. I better not squander it. So every day I'm in getting good. And I think that's just kind of how I operate, you know. But I don't know, this one's different. Every fight's different. This one kind of just has a title at the end of it. Like, if I was fighting Figueiredo for a 3-rounder, I'd feel really good and happy about it. But basically, the best way to say it is a title's on the line, and people want to say that, but I look at it as another fight because I'm not, like, obsessed about a title or anything like I used to be. Yeah. It's a huge bonus for me. You know, it's an extra line on my Wikipedia page. You know, to me, it's almost like the way I'm looking at it, because, you know, like I said, I don't do good just obsessing with something like an object or like a place to arrive, because you're going beyond that no matter what you're doing. So for me, I honestly just look at it as like, look, people are gonna say I'm a good fighter. Goes without saying, right? When they look at, oh yeah, he was really good. Oh, he was great. This is like proof, you know? Like, I'll have the line on my Wikipedia page that says, like, he was the best in the world. You know, for that one night, he was the best. For that period of time, he was the absolute best. Because before that, it's not official. It's all just word of mouth. He was good. He was a good fighter. Oh, he was great. I loved watching him. He could have won that fight. Man, he might have been the best ever. this is like proof. He was the world champion. He has that gold belt. It says it right there, world champion. You know, so that's kind of how it is. Like I said, I looked at it many ways to do it, and everyone's always going to say I was a good, you know, fighter. I imagine him debating over barbershops and haircuts, you know, and people debating it. But now it's like, it's just proof that I was good. You can look back and be like, he was the best, you know, because before that, people would just agree or not. You know, yeah, he was good. He was really good. So.
I'm gonna stop there.
Yeah.
The poster's out, so you're back in a main event.
Yeah.
You're on the marquee. How does Joe Benavidez now feel in comparison to the kid from New Mexico who went to the Palms and said, hey man, look at that, I'm on a billboard?
Yeah, I mean, it's not as shocking anymore. It's not, it's like, I look at it and I get happy and stuff. And the first thing I looked at was my hair.
Yeah.
I was like, man, my hair was big back
Was it
then.
good?
Well, it was big, but it was good because it was different, you know? So I looked at my hair because I'm like, I never went into a fight with a full head of hair, and they got me in that poster like that. So that's the first thing I looked at. And then, but yeah, so like things like that. You know what? It was content for my Instagram. You know what? I can post this picture. I haven't taken a picture in forever because, you know, I don't do that stuff. That's kind of what it was.
Yeah.
I mean, it was great. And every reaction I get back to it means more, you know what I mean, than just the poster and me being like selfishly like, I'm on a poster. I can't wait to hang that in my house, you know, and everyone to see it. Like, it felt cooler, like seeing comments come in that said, can't wait, excited to be there, gonna be there, you got this, you know, been rooting for you for a long time, like that stuff. That's what was cool about it. It was just another little, you know, way to see that, way to gain a little more inspiration, and just fill up a post on my Instagram.
Yeah. You mentioned before how everything you do is always moving towards something else.
Yeah.
So right now, you're moving towards a UFC title fight, but have you thought what that might lead to?
Yeah,
What's the something else after the UFC title?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Well, it doesn't stop there, is the main thing. And the great thing about that is you don't know. You know, like, you don't know what's going to happen, but you know that's not the end either, just because you do it. And you better not think like it's the end, you know, because you always just have to keep going. And like I said, it can go this way, that way, or that way. You know, there's a time when I'll come to my last fight and it's going to be, I'm still moving towards something, but it's just not fighting anymore or something. So that's the great thing is I don't know what it is, but I know like that's not, this is part of it, and this is the most important thing right now. But you know what? It's not going to stop there. I'm going to continue going. I mean, in my, you know, vision for the answers that people are looking for, you know, I want to win the title. I want to become more successful at what I do, and that success in our sport is winning. So I want to continue to defend the title after, and just be a great representative for the sport and the division. See what else comes along with it. You know, I have a ton of interests, and, you know, continue to just inspire people and, you know, make my supporters happy, friends, family, closest ones to me, coaches, everything, and just continue to just enjoy this, what I do. So that's what I see obviously happen after. But yeah, that's the great thing. Like, I love this line by the Talking Heads song, Road to Nowhere. He says, the future is certain, give us time to work it out. Because it's like you know, it's like, it's not certain, you have to work it out. So it's like, I'm doing everything I can work on it, but like, I think it's just gonna happen how it's gonna happen anyway, you know? And that's kind of how I look at it. So that's what I'm expecting. That's what I'm working towards right now.
Deiveson Figueiredo, what do you think about him?
Figueiredo is, I think he's good. I've watched him for a while. Since he started fighting, I thought, oh, that's a cool, like, exciting flyweight. Like I said earlier, I'm like a fan of division. So to see someone in division that like looks scary and is like finishing people and putting on exciting fights, you know, I was attracted to that instantly and knew, hey, maybe we'll fight someday because that guy. But I like the way he represented the division because he went out and he fought, you know, and that's what I like about the fight with him is like he is gonna fight me, and that's what we're there for. You know what I mean? So yeah, I mean, I like him. He's aggressive. He's athletic. He's, you know, a new generation, a new challenge. But you know, I obviously believe in myself over him or anyone in the division.
The future is certain.
Yes.
We just have to
Give us
figure it
time
out.
to work it out.
Give us time to work it
Yeah.
out. Joe Benavidez.
All right.
Hope your future works out great for you.
I think it should.
Hello, everyone. It's Ariel Helwani. I just came here to thank you for watching our ESPN YouTube channel. It's the best. You know what else is the best? The ESPN app. You can get highlights, analysis, all that stuff and more. And if you want premium content and live streaming sports, there's only one place for all of that. It's ESPN Plus.